Islamists have launched a widespread campaign opposing the March and March protests against illegal immigration. But when one actually peels back the surface, their reason for doing so is a lot more sinister than meets the eye. With the argument around March and March and the illegal immigration protests on June 30 simmering across the media, podcast platforms, and even just on the streets between ordinary people talking, we know that there are a lot of conflicting views, with many people strongly in favor of the protests and many who are aggressively against them. And we've noticed how many people in the media and the government have very much been in opposition. Now, what's particularly striking to me is that while most religious groups don't appear to be taking sides or be getting involved politically speaking, it appears that a large amount of Islamists have launched a concerted and well-coordinated effort to oppose March and March. And one has to wonder why this is. Now, in this video, I'm going to go through what they have said, and then I'm going to explain exactly why this seems to be happening, why there seems to be this effort, which has manifested in various ways, and what the broader goal of these Islamists is in South Africa. Now, before I get into it, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's completely free to do, and all you have to do is click on the subscribe button below. If you would like to support the channel and enjoy some additional benefits, consider becoming a Power Club member. You can do this by clicking on the join button below the video. Now let's get into this. So there are two primary spaces where we've seen Islamic groups opposing March and March. The first one has been in the media with certain News 24 articles and other media outlets such as IOL. And I'm not here to name and shame individuals, but I do think it's important that we acknowledge that this has happened. The other place, which is, I would say, a lot more formalized, has been in a joint statement by 22 Islamic organizations opposing the marches. And here we actually have a Facebook post from Jacinta Ngobezezuma, who is the founder of March and March, in which she actually shows the press statement that these 22 organizations released. And what we see here is a list, and it explains, endorsed on 25th June 2026 by, and then of course we have 22 organizations who have all said that they are against the march, calling them xenophobic and basically sticking up for illegal immigrants. So if we take a look at who's on the list, you do have certain ones that seem fairly innocent, So for example, you've got the Muslim Students Association Union, that's number 14, the Muslim Youth Movement of South Africa, number 15, and generally religious groups, we're all for it. Doesn't matter whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, or something else. Everybody's entitled to feel represented. That's not a problem. But then when we take a look at some of the other organizations, I wonder what sort of political agenda is involved. We have number 17, Palestine Information Network. Number 18, Palestine Solidarity Alliance. 19, South African Friends of Palestine. 20, South African Muslim Network. And then, of course, we have number 13, which is the Media Review Network. And so ultimately, while you have these sort of more civil society groups, you also have these pro-Palestine political groups and media groups. And so all of a sudden you're starting to see how shady this is, because it's not just normal religious organizations. These are politically aligned organizations who are getting involved. And while many people will say, oh, well, you're Jewish, Zionist, Israeli, whatever title they want to fling at me, answer me this. The South African Zionist Federation, have they issued any sort of political messaging regarding this? No, nothing. The South African Board of Jewish Deputies have not done anything. Because why? Sure, those organizations, much like other legal organizations, have their mandates, but they're not here overstepping their mark in order to spread some kind of an agenda or some kind of messaging, whereas this group of 22 organizations are. Now, when we take a look at other recent events in South Africa, it's not hard to see why these people are pushing back so much against the anti-illegal immigration marches. So here we see that there was a recent meeting in Cape Town whereby Iran's deputy foreign minister, Dr. Saeed Khatibzadeh, decided to meet supporters in Cape Town. And as he explained in this Facebook post, the United States had failed to achieve any of its objectives, and I quote, "I am sure you have heard many narratives about Iran, that our military is incapable, that we have been completely destroyed by the United States, and that Iran can no longer continue this war. But we have proven all of these claims to be false," Khatibzadeh said. "I am sure you have heard many stories about Iran, but the reality on the ground has demonstrated our resilience and our ability to withstand pressure and defend our interests." Now, it's all well and good that there is this sort of political gathering, and we're no strangers to this. We know that there is an Islamic movement that supports Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the IRGC, as well as its other terror proxies within South Africa. We know that this exists. But I'd like for us to take a look at a different post in which these people are implicitly, indirectly calling for the genocide of Jews. Take a look. So here we have the Al-Jamaa Islamic political party, all right? And they decided to comment on the exact same meeting. And of course, we have photos of this right below. They explain, "It was a privilege to engage with Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Saeed Khatibzadeh and Mansour Shakib Meher, Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran to South Africa, at a special reception in Cape Town hosted by the Iranian embassy." So, this is what's really interesting. They explain that our discussions focused on strengthening the long-standing relationship between South Africa and Iran, deepening people-to-people ties, and promoting cooperation in pursuit of peace, justice, and mutual development. In light of recent global developments, we reflected on the importance of principled engagement, regional stability, unity, and multilateral cooperation. The role of BRICS in fostering a more balanced and inclusive international order was also highlighted. We further discussed the importance of sound strategy and preparedness when engaging with states or entities that have a history of failing to uphold agreements. Lasting peace is built not only on dialogue, but also on accountability, consistency, and ensuring that commitments are honored. Diplomatic engagement must therefore be accompanied by realistic strategies that safeguard peace, stability, and the interests of all people. So up until this point, no real surprises. We know that they are aligned with the Iranian regime and they want South Africa and Iran to have closer ties. And of course, it ties into the greater sort of Islamic movement. That's not a surprise. But what really shocked me is the next paragraph, which reads, "The conversation further emphasized the importance of preserving unity, resisting attempts to create division, and advancing a just and lasting resolution to the question of Palestine. Support was expressed for a single democratic state in historic Palestine where all people can live with equal rights, dignity, security, and justice." Now, apart from the fact that these kinds of groups have never been able to create a society with equal rights, dignity, or justice, focus on what they say here. They say support was expressed for a single democratic state in historic Palestine. And what does that essentially mean? Well, we know that the Palestinian movement and Israel both view that same land as their homeland. We understand that. And of course, there was a partition of the land, hence why you've got Gaza, mainland Israel, and the West Bank. Yet what these people are saying is that they want all of Palestine to themselves. And so what essentially happens to Israel if you want all of Palestine to yourself? At least according to their definition of what is Palestinian land. Well, essentially, they are indirectly, very subtly, calling for the erasure of the Jewish state. Now, of course, it didn't end there. We see here how there was another recent engagement between South Africa and Iran on the diplomatic front. And as explained in this article, the Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Thandi Moraka, recently hosted Dr. Saeed Khatibzadeh for bilateral discussions. So, of course, That is the Deputy Foreign Minister of Iran. And so ultimately, we see how the South African Deputy Foreign Minister and the Iranian counterpart has decided to come together at what is, of course, a very sensitive time. And so what do we have so far? We have a group of people who oppose the illegal immigration marches, yet are very supportive of Iranian officials, the IRGC, coming to South Africa and continuing to spread their sort of message, because, of course, these are people who are on the same side. But more importantly than that, a few days ago, I released a video, the link to which should pop up right above right now. And what I released in that video was a very disturbing piece of footage that was captured of a certain Al-Jamaa politician by the name of Imran Musa. And I'm going to read a direct quote from him. "We have to bring as many people as possible from Pakistan here," Musa said. Continuing, "And I'm telling you how important it is to bring more Pakistanis here, because 15,000 Jews have come from Israel into Cape Town, and they are trained military-wise, and they come here into South Africa, and we also have to plan. It's important for us to stand together, unite together, and ensure that we are also strong." Now, the first problem I have with this is that there is no data that I was able to find that suggests that 15,000 Jews in Cape Town actually came from Israel. There's no verifiable data. The second thing is that there is no verifiable data that these are people who are militarily trained. And so already Musa is really committing some very severe false accusations. The next thing that's really worrying is that he says, well, we need to bring more Pakistanis here. And actually, as I previously mentioned, as many people as possible from Pakistan. And my question is why? Because now you're alleging that these Jewish people, and you say Jews, are militarily trained, and we must also be strong. And then he also says we also have to plan. And so my question to him is, plan what? So overall, we see a situation where Islamists, radicals in South Africa have decided to have this concerted effort where they generate more and more support with Iran. We know that they've expressed support for Hamas, Hezbollah, and other Iranian proxies in the past. They're having officials over. They keep trying to get the government to go that way. And of course, when March and March decides to speak out, and we know that many illegal immigrants that they speak about are Pakistani, these 22 Islamic organizations enter panic mode. And then, of course, there's this gem from Imran Musa where he is basically alleging that they need to plan militarily in order to fight Jews in Cape Town. And so I ask anybody watching this, without me trying to draw conclusions or put one in your mind, what do you make of this? What do you make of all of the evidence that I've shown you here? And really, why these people are so scared of March and March? They are so scared of the movement against illegal immigration, and actually the movement which is trying to support the rule of law. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. If you found it informative, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, help expand its reach, and I will see you again next time. Until then, I'm Matthew Cohen, and this is the Power Pod.